And in the meantime, the Global Business Travel Association estimates that if coronavirus-related travel restrictions continue, whether the travel cutbacks are self-imposed or ordered by government, spending on travel around the world could drop by more than 37%, costing the industry a whopping $46.6 billion a month and nearly $560 billion a year. So let's talk about the issue of tourism, as many companies have imposed travel restrictions and asking their employees to work from home. Here in the studio, I've got Unathi Henama, who is a tourism lecturer at the Tswane University of Technology. Well, firstly, I want to touch on the issue of travel. Well, isn't it obvious that when people travel, they start at home, have to be in transit to the airport. When they are at the airport, they hang around the airport before they board. And when they are boarding, they interact with other passengers on the plane. And when they land at the airport, and also they end up being picked up. Look at the number of stages of interactions there. And the South African government says when people are from China, especially when they're not from Wuhan, there's no need to test them and they're not showing signs. What's your view if you are a tourist and you want to come to South Africa?
I believe first and foremost, we must firstly commend government for being ready at the ports of entry. The statement that you must not test people, I think that is quite regrettable. But what I know is that at all of our ports of entry, when you enter, you are being screened, you are being tested, and also be given leaflets as to what to do should you think that you are infected. So I think from that side, we are ready as a country to mitigate any negative impacts of the coronavirus. Yes, there is a lot of fear-mongering in the country about the coronavirus, but I believe it is important for us to listen to the do's and the don'ts, and that is important for this sector of ours.
But then when you look on the downside of things, business will be affected if there are no walk-ins. Your hotels, B&Bs, as well as other feeder points of tourism. So in that case, what does one do if they are in the business of tourism?
I think the most important thing about the business of tourism is to communicate with your clients. Communicate with your clients about what measures you put in place to ensure, such as you've got sanitizers, you've ensured that your rooms are cleaned, refuse removal is at its peak level. So the issue is that you need to communicate. But again, from the tourism side, I mean, the Minister of Tourism is already showing leadership by meeting the tourism industry at 5 o'clock this afternoon too, so that there is one singular message that South Africa remains open for tourists, and we've got at our points of entry all the screening necessary. We have even averted Ebola as a country, so we also have that experience.
So now when you look at how airlines should react to this crisis if they allow bookings to travel, I mean, like other people are saying that they are conflicted, because if you don't take people's bookings, you are imposing travel restrictions on yourself. But then when you allow them, you are also complicit in not taking a precautionary step in terms of averting the spread of the virus.
Well, the airlines are having it bad. I mean, this is like possibly bigger than September 11th, when the USA closes airspace for a whole week, which led to a lot of bankruptcies. But airlines are actually flying half empty right now. Interestingly enough, they are what we define as crisis-resistant tourists that still travel even during these periods. So basically, this is the best time to possibly travel. And again, South Africa is clear. We are open for business. We have all the precautions put in place, so people must actually visit this country. But obviously, the messaging is very, very clear. Hygiene.
Now, the double whammy for South Africa, if the issue of the coronavirus is really affecting the attitude of people, then surely confidence to your preferred travel destination would be affected more so that when you arrive in South Africa and you're listening to this interview, boom, load shedding.
Well, load shedding is one of the challenges that we're facing as a country. But I believe the tourism industry has been very proactive in putting funds available for tourism operators to get off the grid. Do you understand? That's number one. But on the issue of the corona, I believe that the tourism industry will recover. Right now, we've seen a 3% decline in global tourism numbers. And remember, China is a very, very important source market for South Africa. So we're hoping that a vaccine is found very, very quickly to ensure that the Chinese come once again to South Africa. Remember, if the Chinese don't come, we're losing, what, nearly 100,000 tourists, and that possibly will lead to immediately 1,000 jobs being lost and possibly 1 million rands in foreign exchange expenditure in South Africa. So the Chinese market is very, very important. So the sooner the coronavirus outbreak is resolved, the better for tourism.
All right, thank you very much for making time.
Always a pleasure.
Sonwabile Unathi Henama is tourism lecturer at the Tswane University of Technology.